weight loss on WW maintenance, plus my favorite condiments. Today on Meema Mc Living Healthy. Stay tuned. Hello. Like I said earlier, my topic for today is weight loss on WW maintenance, plus my favorite condiments. I hope you'll stay tuned because I have a little bit of a different kind of take on what a condiment may be to some people. So it's not just your everyday condiments that are included. First of all though, let's get on to my weigh-in for this week. As those of you that watch me regularly, you may remember that last Thursday I weighed in at 118 pounds even. Now that was a 2-pound gain from the week before because I had taken a little bit of a step back and enjoyed my week, probably a little too much, but that was okay. And I never make excuses for why I gain or lose weight. I just tell you the facts. And that's what it was for last Thursday. Well, this Thursday, I knew, since Papa had been out of town for a whole week, that I possibly was going to lose weight. But after gaining weight last week, I didn't feel like it was going to be that much of a difference. I just thought I would probably lose the 2 pounds that I had gained the week before, because I don't always believe that a 2-pound gain or loss in a week is an actual gain. Sometimes it's just because you had too much salt. Or in other cases, when you lose it, it's because you drank more water. I don't always understand why it happens, but I tried to evaluate how I did each week. Now, just like I've been doing for the last few months, I did weigh on Monday. And I had lost a little bit of weight, not a lot, but a little bit. I'd lost those 2 pounds that I had gained the week before. So I thought, well, I'm just going to stay the same route that I've been doing. And I do want to explain before I tell you my weight loss, because I did lose weight, what my theory is on why I did. Part of it was what I shared earlier. I just felt like the 2-pound gain was not a total, real, actual gain, but I lost more than 2 pounds. So how do I justify the extra weight that I lost? One simple fact: I didn't go out to eat. I didn't go out to eat any last week. I did go last Saturday to a birthday celebration that we had at my sister's house, who will turn 70 years old next Thursday, but I went prepared. I took my own spread of fresh fruit and raw vegetables, plus my dip, and all of it was low point, and that's what I put on my plate first. Yes, I did have some of what my nieces had prepared, and it was lasagna. It wasn't a low point lasagna either, but I just ate a small amount. And I really sort of did it more just to be kind, but I did eat it because it was good. Anyway, the rest of the week, I ate at home. I did drive through Arby's one time, and yet I know how much that meal that I always get at Arby's is. I get it so often, I know exactly how to track it. I did struggle a little bit knowing what to track that lasagna from last Saturday, but it was okay. I had plenty of points left by the end of the day. And then yesterday, when I got on the scale, I was expecting to weigh around 116 because that was losing the 2 pounds that I had put on the week before. Well, that's not what I weighed. I weighed 113 pounds even. Now, how did that happen other than just not going out to eat? I think I had a lot less salt content. I've given up pretzels for Lent, so I feel like that is part of it. But I had given up pretzels last week also, so I can't use that as the only reason I lost the 3 extra pounds. Now, one other thing that I think helped, gave me just a little bit of a charge on the losing the weight, and this is not going to sound like things that I promote because normally I don't think this makes any difference. I've got Papa's dog, and so every day I was outside with her, taking her for walks, making sure that she kept within my sight, which she got out of my sight a couple of times. And so I probably walked somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 5 miles last week. I haven't been walking anywhere close to that since last fall because of the weather. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We had a great time doing it. I do think that contributed a little bit to my weight loss. I normally say the only thing that exercise does is help you maintain. I still believe that in theory. But obviously this week, as much exercise as I got as compared to the week before when it rained many of the days and I rarely got out, I do feel like it sort of gave me a little bit of a push toward losing some of those extra 3 pounds. So, to make a long story not shorter, because it's already too long, last Thursday I weighed in at 118 even, and yesterday I weighed in at 113 even. Now that 113 means that I have lost a total of 100 pounds since I started Weight Watchers 8 years ago. I still get excited when I get down to that 113. I know I don't need to be that low, but I still get excited when I do. Now, let's go on to the bonus part of the video. It's my product reveal like I've been doing for the last, I think the last 6 weeks I've been doing it. And I had 2 or 3 different ideas of what I wanted to do today. The first was I use a product called G Hughes, and it is delicious. I think even if I had not been on Weight Watchers, even if I had not been trying to lose weight, I would be eating this food because I like it so much. And it's not necessarily going to all fall under condiments. And yet, I do use every one of these things I'm going to show you today to put on sandwiches, to add to some of my fruits and vegetables, and some of my boneless, skinless chicken. So, let's get started on the products. First of all, I was just going to do the G Hughes, and then I realized I only had 3 products. I've been using it for so many years that I have got it narrowed down to where I only buy 3 different products. I'll start this one off. This is the barbecue sauce. I thoroughly love this barbecue sauce. And the only difference between this barbecue sauce and what I have used for most of my adult life is it's just a little thinner. But you know, I think I like that better because the kind that I was using, which was Kraft for the most part, was so thick that sometimes I felt like I was putting twice as much on something than I needed. And this, I don't feel that way. And with G Hughes, you can have up to 3 tablespoons of this product for 0 personal points. Now, once you have the 4 tablespoons, it is 1 personal point, but up to 3 is 0. And this is the original flavor. There's also 3 or 4 other flavors. I think there's a sweet and spicy. I know there's a hickory, and there's probably a couple more, but this is the one I prefer. And so this is the one that I buy most of the time now. Now this is a marinade, but I use it as a condiment. It is G Hughes sugar-free teriyaki marinade. It is 1 to 3 tablespoons is 0 personal points. And then when you have that 4th tablespoon, it does turn into 1 personal point. This is delicious on anything that I want to give just a little bit of a Japanese or Chinese flavor. And then the third G Hughes product that I use is really a condiment. It is the sugar-free ketchup. And I've probably talked about this more than once on previous videos, but I don't know that I've ever shared this part. This ketchup is so good and so pure tasting that several members of my family prefer it over regular Heinz or Hunt's or store brand names ketchup that has sugar in it. So that's been a great plus for me because I don't eat a lot of ketchup, so sometimes I have to throw it away, and I hate admitting that, but sometimes I do. Well, once my other family members found it and found out that they preferred it over regular ketchup, it was a no-brainer. We were going to use it. Now, I do want to explain that I use this now, and you'll understand in a minute why I'm saying now, to add to my recipes. Make a peach glazed chicken. It calls for ketchup, and I always use this. This is a little more expensive than brand name ketchup, so that's why I don't use it as much as I used to, because I found a brand name that I like that is also sugar-free. But this is delicious. I recommend anyone trying it. It is more expensive, but it's also much better. That's the 3 G Hughes products. Now the other products I have are just basic condiments, and there's a couple that you might not agree as a condiment, but I do. I use it as a condiment. So here's I'll go with what I was just talking about. This is something that Papa and I found, probably 6 or 8 months ago. They may have had it out longer than that, but my local grocery store didn't carry it until that time. I think we're on like our 3rd bottle of it. And it is Heinz tomato ketchup with no sugar added. And, I don't think I mentioned a while ago that with the G Hughes, that you can have up to 3 tablespoons of the G Hughes ketchup, and it too is 0 personal points. Don't think I mentioned that, so if I did, I'll cut that out. But the Heinz tomato ketchup that is no sugar added is, for 1 tablespoon, it's 0 personal points. For 3 tablespoons, it's 1. So that means you can have 1 or 2 tablespoons of this ketchup and it be 0 personal points. And then when you get to that 3rd tablespoon, it does become 1 personal point. And I believe it stays 1 until 6 tablespoons, and then it goes up to 2. But it is not as expensive as the G Hughes ketchup. It's also not quite as good. It's a little thinner in texture, but I like it enough to where if I'm just eating something like a hot dog or something like that, it was just more economical for me to start buying that, even though I really like the G. Hughes tomato ketchup. Now, the other things that I have, when I first started Weight Watchers, I didn't use much mayonnaise at all. Now, I have been using this kind of mayonnaise, I would say probably close to 20 years when I could find it. I couldn't always find it, but it's Hellmann's Light Mayonnaise. And with Hellmann's, for 1 tablespoon, it's 1 personal point. For 2 tablespoons, it's 3 personal points. So that's that Weight Watchers math. It doesn't make much sense that it's not 2 for 2, but it's not, it's 3. But I normally, sometimes, I don't even use anywhere close to a tablespoon. I may use a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half, but I do count that as 1 personal point. But this is something that I use in some of my dips, like what I was saying earlier. I took a ranch dip to my sister's for her birthday, and this was the mayonnaise that I put in it. I do use it on some sandwiches, like a banana sandwich. I like my mayonnaise on a banana sandwich, so this is what I use, and it's Hellmann's Light. Now we've got 2 different kinds of mustard. Here is the regular old French's mustard, and as far as I know, I think you can probably have 4 or 5 tablespoons of this before it goes into a any kind of a points. I know I've had up to 3, and it still says 0 smart points, because I make what I call a yum yum sauce with that mayonnaise I just showed you, the French's mustard, and either G. Hughes or the Heinz ketchup, and I, whip it up pretty good, and it's very low in points. The only points that I incur when I have that yum yum sauce is from the mayonnaise. So here's the French's mustard. I never was a big mustard fan until I started Weight Watchers, and I learned I do like mustard. Probably, depending on the sandwich, I like mustard just as well as I do mayonnaise. Okay, and this was another mustard that I found that is low in personal points. It's the honey mustard. Specifically, this is French's honey mustard. I've tried 2 or 3 others, but I always go back to this. It does cost a little bit more than the store brands, but I actually think it is a little lower in points than at least the Food Club store brand that I used to buy. And for this, 1 tablespoon is 1 personal point. 2 tablespoons is 1 personal point, but then when you have 3 tablespoons, it goes up to 2. Now, once again, I rarely have more than 2 tablespoons of this, and so it's only going to be 1 point when I eat it that way. Now, these last 2, you may not consider them condiments, but I do, because I use them on things like condiments. This is the Smucker's sugar-free breakfast syrup. Now, this is perfect on my Kodiak pancakes, and I also like it if I'm eating a Thomas 100 calorie or the Healthy Life 100 calorie English muffin. I will warm it up and then put about a tablespoon on it, and it tastes a lot like a pancake, except it's a whole lot quicker. So for it, 1 tablespoon is 0 personal points, and then 2 to 5 tablespoons is only 1 personal point. So that I usually incur 1 personal point, because I usually have, on a pancake, I'll have at least 2 tablespoons, depending on the size of the pancake. If it's a normal size pancake, I probably have 3 or 4 tablespoons. But it's only 1 personal point for up to 5 tablespoons. And this is Smucker's. It's really good. And the last thing I decided to add is a picante sauce. This is something that I use on nearly every one of my wraps when I'm eating something that I want to have a Mexican flair. And I also will have the paste salsa, but I prefer the picante sauce. I prefer the mild, and that's what this is. Now for 2 tablespoons, it's 0 personal points. And from 3 to 7 tablespoons, it's only 1 personal point. And I really enjoy just using this for chips, on my burritos, just anytime I want a Mexican flair. That's it for today. Subscribe if you're not. Until next time, goodbye.